Hello everyone and welcome to the program Midday Discourse on Global Television. I am Samuel Odi, reaching you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. Many thanks for joining on to this edition of the program. We are going to be looking at socio-economic challenges, which has been a massive concern in this part of the country, in Nigeria. I would say it's been alarming over the years. But today we're going to be looking at mitigating the hunger challenge, despite the fact that we've seen a growth says by the National Bureau of Statistics. The Nigerian GDP grew by 3.46%. But Nigerians are saying, how comes this growth? Well, from the report that was released by the MBS, a whole lot of sectors were in technically we're in red zones, aside from the agricultural sector, which was at 6%, and then non-oil sector, which also grew, and as well others, including general merchandise and all, also grew by a few percentage. Looking at those now, aside those angles now, the rest, every other thing wasn't looking good for Nigerians, given the fact that it's no news, there's hunger in the land, cost of living is high, cost of PM is still high, hunger just everywhere. So now, Nigerians are wondering, with the current inflation rates, the unemployment rate, the oil sector, the trade, the electricity and human health sectors were all on deficit, minus all through. So Nigerians are reacting to what actually facilitated this growth. Questions like that have been answered. Under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigerians have been going from one level of starvation to the other, and all they keep hearing is promises, promises, and promises. Now, it's almost 2 years that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been ruling Nigeria. All what Nigerians get slammed with his new policies, new tax reforms, and he keeps saying that he understands the pain and then it's going to be for a while. But Nigerians are saying the pain is only one-sided. Those in the elite class are not feeling the same pain as those in the street, as the market woman who can, go to the rural communities to get products that she would sell. The internal displaced person are saying they are feeling these hits because they can't go back home, they can't be in their homes, they can't farm, they can't do what they used to do because of insecurity in the urban areas. And those that are in the cities are also complaining of the fact that they find it hard to even go to work based on the fact that cost of transportation is now high. Electricity also is on another different note. SMEs also complaining. What we've been hearing from Nigerians since the inception of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been from one complaint to the other. Today, we are going to be finding out how we can mitigate all of these and then start getting positive response from Nigeria. That's what we'll be looking at today. Mitigating hunger and every other socio-economic challenges is what we're looking at to address on today's edition of Midday Discuss. I have someone here live in the studio who will help us, extract most of these major talking points and see how the president would be able to address all of these concerns, given the fact that he's the father of the nation and the president and number one citizen. And he promised a renewed hope agenda. Nigerians are yet to see the hope, rather the renewed one. So we'll be going on a quick break. When we return back, I'll be introducing my guests while we turn to extract all of these major talking points. Please do stay with us. Yes, many thanks for staying with us. Now we are about to extract and diving deep into the conversation. I have with me an elder statesman, Dr. BARTHOLOMEW AGBOCHENU. Many thanks for joining us on today's edition of the program, sir.
It's my pleasure.
Yes, so let's get right into it. Before we start talking about the hunger and socio-economic challenge, yesterday, based on the fact of borrowing, before we even get into that, the federal government says they've been able to save $20 billion from subsidy removal from, last year up to date. But still, the president, have appealed to the Senate that he wants to go borrow 2.2 billion, while we have 20 billion saved up already. So that's a lot of concerns. Then the coordinating minister of finance, Mr. Wale Edu, and the community and the Senate Committee on Finance also had a conversation yesterday where he was saying, that speaking about Mr. Wale Edun, says it's a need for Nigeria to borrow productively and efficiently. So we don't really understand what that means. We're hoping he's here, but I will just ask, sir, do you think if Nigeria has been able to save 20 billion from subsidy removal in the past 15 months thereabout, do you think there is a need for Nigeria to go ahead and borrow a fraction of just $2.2 billion?
Well, how I wish the president is here in person for him to answer that question. But Mr. Sam, you can testify to the fact that right from ab initio, I have been voicing out my words that I don't have confidence in this government. I don't have confidence in this government. If you look at the government that is prepared to work, you would know. The government we have at present, the government that is all out to suppress the citizens. Nobody speaks the truth. Even when they see the chief helmsperson derailing, they will come and begin to say fine things about him. There is corruption everywhere. And Mr. Sam, I make bold to tell you that before something gets good, the person who is making the thing good should first of all be good, should first of all be sound. Have Nigerians been reformed? The people at the helm of affairs, have they been reformed? Those in the National Assembly, they are just there as puppets. It's very difficult for the president to submit a bill and it's thrown aside. If you dare it, you face the music. That is what we have in Nigeria. So, $20 billion already saved, and we are going in to borrow $2.something billion. The handwriting is on the wall that there is no sincerity there in any way. There is no sincerity there in any way. Their activities have been overbloated. Let's just say something to impress the people that we are working. If not, how can I have $20 billion and I will still go borrowing $2.something billion? So it is very clear to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that there is no sincerity in that activity.
Okay, looking at those angles now, okay, let's talk about the just released GDP rate that was recorded at 3.46% growth as a third quarter, which is higher than that of the second quarter, which was at 3.19% growth. What's your reaction to this level of growth that the MBS have released?
It is still the insincerity that is continuing. As a student in class, if you offer 8 subjects and you fail 6 subjects, how come you are classified as a distinction student? Would you be classified as a distinction student? They have given us a record of an increased GDP growth. But then when we look at the various elements of the indices, they are in the negative dimension. So who are you fooling? Who are you fooling? Before you pass as a student to the next class, then you should be able to pass at least half of your subjects. You have not been able, all the scorecard of the various sectors of the economy are in the negative. And you are coming to tell us that we have an increased GDP growth. It is very, very difficult for me to believe.
Okay. Looking at that now, let's look at this other angle, socio-economic challenge. What can you say, like in terms of poverty now? What can you say are the roots and the causes of poverty in Nigeria? And since this administration assuming office, what can you say has been the angles that they've taken that keeps pushing Nigerians and the economy down the drain?
The cause of poverty is insincerity, number one. Number two, non-patriotism. Number one, insincerity. The leaders are not sincere. In the way they go about things, they are not sincere. The major cost or the major cause of hunger in the land is the herdsmen's invasion. They don't allow people to go to the farm to work, both at the mechanized level and at the subsistence level. The facts are very, very real before us. They are glaring us at our face. Even at Abuja here, the Federal Capital Territory, so many people are willing to go to the farm to work. But if you go there, the Fulanis, they come and kill you. They bring their hares and destroy the products. If I am not making mistakes, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory has raised a ban on open grazing.
Yes.
But do the Fulanis keep it? The Fulanis, they don't keep it. And as they don't keep it, the law is not enforced. They keep looking at them. They come telling people that this is what we would want done. Yes, that is what you would want done. But if people don't do as you have said it should be done, what will you do to bring them to order? What would you do? Nothing is done. So there is insincerity. Those are the hems of affairs. Some months ago, we saw some senators coming to say that cows are citizens of Nigeria. Cows are human beings. Cows have brains like human beings. So that is working, that is cooking in the undertone. You say something, you don't mean it. So the major cause of hunger in the land is insincerity among the people that are at the helm of affairs. Among those people that are ready to go to the farm, you will pity them. Because if they go to the farm, all these Fulanis, they don't care. They come with arms, sponsored by these senators and some big men. They come with those arms. If you cultivate your crops and you don't want their animals to destroy those crops, they kill you and they go and nothing happens. And those Fulanis that kill you, when they are arrested by and by, some few months later, amnesty will be granted them. This is insincerity. It is insincerity that is the cause of poverty. And point number two, non-patriotism. How do I mean, Mr. Sam? The leaders at the helm of affairs in the country, they are not patriotic about this. They don't want this country to grow. They have pushed everything into politics. They have pushed everything into politics. Those who went to school and they are high upstairs that can discover things, and Nigerians will begin to produce. You divert their vision to politics. And you know, before a country grows from knowledge. A country grows from philosophies. A country grows from discoveries. The world has been at the base level before philosophers like Thales, like Socrates, like Aristotle emerged. And their preliminary works gave rise to the discoveries by some people like Sir Isaac Newton, John Dalton, Albert Einstein, Ernest Rutherford, that have changed the course of things in the whole world today. All the things that we are seeing happen, they happen by the whites, not by the blacks, because the blacks are all in for corruption. They are all in for corruption. Everything is tailored towards politics. The professor that went to school read physics, who would have settled in the class to make discoveries. A professor of chemistry, who would have settled in the lab to make discoveries. You will be paying a local government chairman that was his student 10 million naira, and he is collecting 500,000 naira. That his students is not struggling to buy fuel. But the professor with 500,000 naira is struggling to buy fuel and to train his children in school. When there is a call for him to come now and be a collation officer during election, where he will be given 5 million naira, he will leave the classroom and go there. He will leave the classroom and go there. Discoveries that will lead us to production has been crushed into crucible. This is also a major cause of hunger and poverty. By the moment the leaders become patriotic and they place issues where they belong, that is when we will begin to accelerate and get to the apex of our voyage.
Okay. Getting to the apex of our voyage, let's look at this now. Unemployment, from the report that was released by the MBS, unemployment rate is at 5.3% minus. Inflation rate obviously still at 33.88%, and the oil sector is at minus 4.98%, despite having Dangote refinery selling products locally, and then the Crude for Naira initiative. How well would you say the oil sector is actually doing? Would you say that this initiative, the Crude for Naira initiative, is actually working?
Let me tell you, nothing is going on well in the oil sector. Nothing. If Dangote, as an individual, can produce a refinery, how can't a whole country produce a refinery, a workable refinery? Does Dangote have more money than Nigeria? No. It is the willpower. It still anchors on this patriotism that I'm talking about. The leaders that we have, they don't place the welfare of the country at heart. They don't place the welfare of the country at the primus. They bring themselves forward and forget about the country, not knowing the mutilating effect that rebounds on the country by their actions and activities. So when we begin to talk about the oil sector, Mr. Sam, I'd like you to forget about it. Nigeria is not thinking about making the oil sector to begin to grow. When they begin to think in that line, you would know. Nobody tells you before you begin to know. When a Dangote as an individual can produce a refinery, what do you think of the whole country? The policy is too poor. The patriotism level is too low. If today Nigerians decide to come to the round table and begin to think on how to influence this country positively, in the next few months, you will see a positive result.
Do you think the oil sector is fully independent, as they have always projected themselves to be? That's the NNPC.
The oil sector is not independent. It's not independent. They are remote controlled by the federal government. And that is why advancement in that area is so epileptic. We are not getting anywhere because we have corrupt people at the helm of affairs. By the time they begin to tell Nigerians the truth, that is when we will begin to make journeys towards development and getting to the positive side of life. NNPC is not independent, although a private liability company. Dangote is not independent from NNPC. That is what I would like you to know. If Dangote would like to do anything, and first and foremost, there is no willpower from NNPC, Dangote cannot go anywhere. And the NNPC, if they would embark on any policy that has not been given the green light from the federal government, the NNPC will be frustrated by the federal government. That is what we have presently in Nigeria, bedeviling our economic sector.
Talking about the bedeviling our economic sector, you know, are you saying that the NNPC now, it's being controlled politically?
Why not? We're in politics. We're in democracy. Anybody at the helms of affairs?
Is that what's dampening the growth of that sector?
For sure. That is what is happening. Nobody is saying the truth. Nobody is saying the truth. Nobody is patriotic. Nigeria is a rich soil. It's a rich soil. Such that by the moment we begin to tell ourselves the truth, give us some few years, we will be there on top of the world. We are not saying the truth. And the people at the helm of affairs, they are not patriotic about Nigerians. They don't think of the generations that are coming. Anybody that has an avenue, that sees any avenue to begin to cut away peppers, naira peppers, he'll begin to do that without thinking of his children. And a lot of them, their eyes are not on Nigeria. Their eyes are on the foreign land. A lot of them, their children are in America. They are in Canada. They are in UK. They are in United Arab Emirates. Their children are not here. They even wish to national.
Want it to be amended, given the fact that the northern, when it passed the first reading, they reacted negatively to it, and Nigerians have reacted negatively to it. Do you think the president is trying to impose the new tax reform bills on Nigeria?
The National Assembly is there for formality's sake. The House of Representatives, the House of Senate, they are just there for formality's sake. Whatever Tinubu wants to do, nobody can stand on his way. If you stand on his way, you are daring the tiger's tail. The rulership in this country is monodirectional. There's no idea of look at this point, should I do it or should I not do it? Provided the Tinubu goes to his room, on his bed, and thinks of a thing to do, it is settled. The Senate president that you see there is a yes man. The speaker is a yes man. Yes, he's a yes man. And before you fare well in the National Assembly, you must be prepared to toe their path of travel. If you are not prepared to toe their path of travel, you have no future. in the legislative chamber. Even if Tinubu wants to buy 10 presidential jets, today he will do it. But to challenge him. That is what Nigerian democratic system has landed us in. There is no democracy in Nigeria. We are still under military rule. We are still under military junta. The imperialism in Nigeria is on the hike. There is no democracy in Nigeria. If not, how would you think of getting another presidential jet at this point in time, when people have not finished talking about the one that you had acquired for over 200 billion naira, when Nigeria is wallowing in abject poverty? So many people that had been working in private sectors, they have backed off because they cannot face the glaring cost of transportation from where they are to their place of work. Some people are being paid 30,000 naira per month when transportation would take about 40,000 naira from them. Not to think of what to eat and the rest of them. Why then do you need to go to work? And in this scenario, crime rate escalates. Immorality. Some young girls that manage themselves in going to do cleaning job, if the job is not there, by the moment a wayward young man toasts them, 1 or 2 words, they are gone. That's the situation we find ourselves in the country, and it is very, very pitiable.
Very, very pitiable, you said. Let's look at this. Earlier on, before we went on the break, you made mention of the fact that the Fulanis are one of the major issues that we're having. How did you arrive at this conclusion? Statements confirmed to be true. Are they not alleged that...
My wife just farmed beans. Despite the fact that we have our statutory works that we are doing, we love farming. My wife farmed beans. We sprayed it. And as we sprayed it, the beans started producing. My wife cultivated these beans together with several other women in a field. And when the beans were producing, some were drying and some were still producing. But while the beans were producing, the Fulani came and dispersed their cattle on the farm to begin to eat them up. I mean my own wife. This happened at my open glare of the eyes. My wife had to hurry up and go and harvest the beans, even those that were not mature. He said he would like to divide them with the Fulanis. Let him try and do whatever he can do, get some. Then even if they eat the rest, let them eat the rest. I mean my own wife. And as a journalist, if you bring your ears down very, very well, you will begin to hear several cases everywhere. Right now, as I'm talking to you, the Fulanis are on rampage. The farming that people have done, they don't allow them to finish maturing. They disperse their heads into the farm field to begin to destroy those crops. In Abuja here, not in the villages yet. If this can happen in Abuja, what do you have to say in the villages? And as I speak to you, if you get to Benue State, get to around a place called Agatu, the Fulanis have come and dispersed the indigenous of those areas, and they have run to the urban areas. If if at all they can decide to be honest. Because there is an adage in my language that said, Ojale Guro Ipenekatin.
English version, please, sir.
Definitely. I will give the English version. It said that if the heaven falls, it will not kill a single person. If the heaven falls, it will kill everybody. Our brothers from the north that are supporting these Fulanis, the whole equally experiences that we are passing through, they are equally feeling the glimpse. They are equally feeling the glimpse. Yes, of course. But the moment we decide to speak the truth the way it is, all of us will have paradise on earth in Nigeria. How will you begin to support people who are destroying people's properties? The cattle belongs to them. The herds of cattle belong to them. It's their assets. And they are using their assets to destroy other people's assets, to destroy other people's means of livelihood. And you turn blind eyes to it. When it is being placed on the floor of the Senate, you begin to say things as if you are blind to what is happening. But it is by the moment we reconsider our stand and begin to tell the truth the way it is, that Nigeria will make a journey forward.
Yes, we are about to get into that part about making a journey forward, but let's go on another quick break, and then when we return back, we'll look for ways that the government and stakeholders will collaborate together to find a way around this socio-economic challenge that has been rampaging all over Nigeria. Please stay with us, we'll be right back. Many thanks for staying. So we've had there are a series of challenges going on now. We're about to get into the solution where the government needs to come in, stakeholders, collaboration, and also maybe looking at international organizations as well to come together, because Nigeria currently is at a dire need of help and partnership. Talking about partnership, Nigeria is a partner country with the BRICS nation, which are Brazil, Russia, India, and China, including South Africa. And then Nigeria is also part of the G20, as well as also part of also the IMF and also World Bank. There's a whole lot of collaboration going on. Nigeria is over our partners with over 300 organizations, and now Nigeria is at a dire time, looking at our current exchange rate and inflationary rate, and food inflation actually is also at 33.98%, which is higher than the general inflation. So looking at this, food alone is inflation is also on the rise. Now we're looking for avenues to be able to have these issues settled, so Nigerians will be able to go to farm and not have to look over their shoulders for any form of insurgents going on within that sector. But Mr. Bartholomew, how do you think, what are the ways now that you think stakeholders and international communities need to come in and help resolve these issues that Nigerians are facing?
On the part of individuals, I don't have any problem. If you ask me, how would you define the citizens of Nigeria? I'll tell you point blank that Nigeria has a set of good citizens. If the governance is sound, you will have the best set of people from Nigeria. So in collaborating with external forces to make sure that we have a way forward, it all depends on Nigerians that are representing us, that are at the front line of activities in taking us there. You made this
53%, rather 5.3% as at released by the NBS. Job creation is actually very dire, very, very, very key to Nigeria, and trying to cope out this challenge now, which is everywhere. How can the government, step in, and what kind of form of partnership would be done to be able to create more jobs for Nigerian youth, and then take away this Japa syndrome that most Nigerians have?
Everything depends on the government. Everything, right from the head to the toe, it depends on the government.
In terms of what policies?
When we talk in terms of job creation, if anybody would get into creating jobs, if there are private enterprises that would rise, do you know the bottlenecks that are set before the people that head these private organizations? Do you know the bottlenecks that people that are in positions of power create before these people? Do you know the bottlenecks? They are 1,001. And so when we talk in terms of job creation, even in government establishment, when people, do you think that people that get into public establishments are the most qualified? No matter how qualified you are, and your pocket does not react, you are there on your own. Those in authorities, they use employment as a means of cutting away money from those who are even seeking job. You already have job that you are doing. Somebody is coming into work, and you would like to reduce.
Actually making sure that they try to fish out those mostly ghost workers, those that are, maybe those that have probably left the country and then relocated abroad, that are still receiving salaries. Some ministers and some ministries are beginning to fish out those numbers out, and then being, disconnected from, getting salaries. But with everything looking at and the situation of Nigeria currently, if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should run for second term or come 2027, do you think, with his track record so far, though he said
so the reason the electoral bodies are there as puppets. They are there as puppets. If we are ready for election, everybody will see it. America is ready for election, and they displayed it in the election that they just conducted. There is no single person that said any wrong thing about the election conduct, even the Americans themselves. You didn't hear when Harris said, I will go to court, I will go to court. No! It was very, very clear to everybody. Nigeria has the willpower to do same here, but they won't get into it. They won't get into it because they know that will work against their premonitions. It will work against their projections. It is not people that are qualified that we have at the head of affairs. No. It is people who force themselves into government. It is people who force themselves, and they are ready to do that, except God intercepts them. The way he did to Abacha. If God had not intercepted Abacha, Abacha would have been the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria while in military uniform. But God intercepted him. So the idea of the Nigerian deal is gone. Is gone. If not, the people at the helm of affairs, they have worked themselves to the position that if not there, nothing happens. So it's not as a result of whether they will be able. As for primary, who is there to stop Tinubu from winning the primary? Who is there that they will give the ticket, APC ticket, to at the primaries? when everything was not in his hand, he used money and bought everybody. Not to talk of now that everything is in his hand. His money will work and his power will also work. So if anybody tells you that another person is coming to pick the presidential ticket at the primaries under the platform of APC, other than Tinubu, the person is joking.
All right. That's how much